Hello everyone, welcome to Snowbundle channel, and today we will discuss on data loading from external stage Azure Blob Container to the Snowflake staging table. And in this video we will discuss the following things. So how to create a Azure storage account and creating an external stage in the Snowflake and copy into statement, how we can load the data from the staging to the Snowflake table, and the syntax and the parameters used in the external stage. And also we'll discuss on how to secure the credential used for accessing the external staging data using the storage integration feature of the Snowflake. And now we'll see how to create a storage account in the Azure Blob Container. And here we will be using the Microsoft Learning Sandbox, which is freely available, and the Microsoft gives up to 4 hours to use the container, and 10 sandboxes can be used per day. So I'll be giving the link to go to the sandbox. So we have to go to the learn.microsoft.com in the exercise of the explore and learn sandbox. So here we would be able to activate the sandbox, with which we can create a storage container and can be used to upload the data, and from there we can use as an external stage to access the data into the Snowflake. So once you go to this link, so sign in to activate the sandbox. So I'll be signing into my Microsoft account. So you can use your personal account, you don't need to have any credit card or debit card. So this is a freely available resources given by the Microsoft. So once we sign in into the Microsoft account, so it will check for the available sandboxes, and it will ask you for verify your account. It may ask you for one more time verification. So once the verification is completed, so it is telling that time remaining is 9 minutes. I guess the Microsoft has reduced from 4 hours to 60 minutes. So we will say it, however. So once you see the cloud shell of this Azure, it means that it started configuring and requesting for the storage account to build for the learning sandbox directory. Okay, now it is ready to use. Now we'll go to the portal.azure.com. So there we will sign in with our Microsoft account. Just type portal.azure.com and you'll be moving to Azure resources, and here in the profile, so click on the switch directory option, and in the directory's name you can see the default directory is the one which I try to log in, and I'm already switched to Microsoft Learn Sandbox. So if your current directory is default directory, so change it to Microsoft Learn Sandbox. Then you can create a storage account using this directory. So for that, let us go to the home option. There, create resources. So here we can see the storage account creation, and click on create. I won't be explaining much depth on this creating storage accounts. I'll be keeping more of default parameters in this. So I'll be giving the storage account name as a Snowflake data loading, and let that be in the US West and standard performance. And I'll be changing the redundancy to local redundancy. I don't want to keep any data which I store in the storage account to replicate it to some other geos. Click on next, and enable the hierarchy namespace to make it as a Azure Data Lake Storage Gen 2. Otherwise it will become a blob container. So with which we can create directories and store the data in a well formatted way. Click on next, and let this be enable public access from all the network. Go to next. I won't be changing any of this retention periods for all these storage accounts, so let that be 7 days, and click on next. and review and create will just give. So it will take few seconds to minute create the storage account in the Azure. So once it is completed, we can see in the notification phase. So deployment is completed, so we can start using the storage account resource. Till the time we'll go to the main menu and go to the storage account. We can see deployment is succeeded. Refresh this one. We can see Snowflake data loading storage account which are created. In the overview section, mainly we will see the hierarchical namespace which confirms that we have enabled the or we will start using the Azure Data Lake Storage Gen 2 and it is in a locally redundant. We'll start creating a container and adding directory to that container. Click on container plus create container. I'll be creating a container with the name Snowflake. Keeping all the parameters as default. Once it is created, get inside to that container and add a directory. So this add directory will come into picture when we will enable the hierarchical namespace. Otherwise, we won't be able to create a separate container and the directory files. So I'll be creating a directory as stage. As I need to keep some files in the stage directory, so I'll be generating some random data using table generator in the Snowflake and extract as a CSV file. Then we will upload into the Azure storage account in the stage directory. So I'll be running this query which will extract some random data up to 50 rows. So 50 rows are recorded, so I'll be downloading this as a CSV file. So whatever the file name it is there, so with the same file name it will be downloading. So let us change the file name. We'll remove all the blank spaces in between and we'll give an underscore or some different name. Now go to Azure storage container. Here upload. We can still create add directory inside stage. We can create stage 1, stage 2 like that. So any format or a kind of hierarchy folders we can create it, but as of now we'll just stop at the stage hierarchy and browse the file and load that test data 1 file. Most of the parameters I'm just keeping as it is. The access tier as hot and block type is block. Let us go to Snowflake now. Now we'll discuss on the external stage creation parameters. So this is a syntax, so how we would be able to create a stage in the Snowflake. So create or replace stage if not exist with the stage name. And external parameter, this applies to Azure, Google Cloud and AWS account. As of now I will keep that into Azure account only. Here we'll be giving the URL of the storage container. If you don't want to provide the credential at the stage itself, then we can create a separate storage integration, then keep all the credential and secret keys in the storage integration object. We'll discuss both of the things, so how to create a storage integration and without storage integration, how we can provide a credential in the stage itself. So this is how syntax will look like. Then in the directory table parameters, so enable equal to true, refresh on create is equal to true, auto refresh is true. So when we create a directory table, so that time we can give these two parameters. So notification integration, so we can add it as well. Now let us create the external stage now. So create or replace external stage. So random data stage I'm creating. As you know, the stage is a schema level object, so I'm creating at a MyDB's and sample DB schema, and in there stage object as a random data stage 1. URL, I need to give azure : / with the account name blob.core.windows and the container name. So the container name is Snowflake, and Snowflake data loading is the storage account name. Now I need to give the credential. So in the credential for the Azure, we just need to give the SAS token. The SAS token will have some validity to access the storage area, but some specific IP address also we can restrict. So that we will see now. So here it is a direct method where we are exposing the credential at the stage itself. As we are going till the Snowflake container, we need to go to Snowflake container and click on shared access tokens, and let the account key be option enabled in the permission for the stage object, right? So we can give add, create stage, and write the files, delete files, and list all the files in the stage and move the files. So these all accesses we can give at the stage object or the stage area of the Azure account. Here up to what date and time we can have access to this storage account is from this date for the current time till 11:42 it is showing, so I will just keep it for tomorrow. So I won't be giving any IP address list, so I'll be just keeping default over here and generate SAS token and URL. So here the first SAS token, we just need to copy it and paste it at this point. So that's it. So now run this command. If I run the show stages, it will show the current stage created. The stage name is random data stage 1 mydb, and URL is this one where we are given access to the storage container. Yes, and describe stage name will give all the parameters whatever we have defined. Many of the parameters we have kept it as default. Now we have created a stage, so let us see whether the created stage is able to list all the files in the directory files or not. So run the list at the rate stage name. As we're given access till the Snowflake, it should be able to list two records. So one Snowflake stage and Snowflake stage test data 1. So to load this CSV data into the Snowflake tables, so let us create a table as well, and we will create, before that we'll create a file format to load this CSV file into the table. As we are directly loading from the external stage to the Snowflake table, so one more way is that we can still load into the internal stage, and from there we can load the data into the tables. If you don't want to have one more copy of data into the Snowflake, directly wanted to load the data into the tables, then we don't need this file format option. We can directly use this file format option, the copy into command. Usually the file format will be defined at the table level or while running the copy into command. As we'll be running the copy into command and we won't be using the internal stage, as we're directly accessing the files from the external stage. For that, let us create a file format. File format is my CSV format, type CSV, and this file format is also a schema level object, and delimiter is comma, skip header is 1 since the file is having the headers or the column names, an empty field null as true, and compression is JJ. Sometimes what will happen, before loading the data into the Snowflake table, we wanted to validate the data at the stage itself. For that, we need to run a query on the stage object itself. For that, we can use the dollar with a numerical value in the select query, and we can directly check at the file level. Example, I have a file at the test data 1 at the stage directory of the random data stage 1, and the file format I have given as a my CSV format, for which I have created a CSV type file with a delimiter, comma, and the skip header as one. Now if I run this query, it is throwing error as the compression type used is gzip. Because of that, the data error is occurring. So let us remove this compression with the gzip, then recreate the file format and run the select query on the stage. So now we are able to see the tabular format of the data. It is still at the stage level itself. And now let us create the table in the Snowflake object. Random table is created at the sample DB schema with the 4 columns: surrogate key, roll number, name, and the percentage varchar. So all are varchar column, because when we will load the data from CSV into the file, so the extracted file usually be in the string format. So we have to externally typecast into the numerical value for the column where we wanted to make it as a integer. But however, I'll be keeping it as a varchar. So that kind of cosmetic level transformation we can do at the copy into command itself. To change this roll number to the integer, then instead of directly using this stage as a parameter, I can use the select with the column name select $1 as a surrogate key. Here, instead of directly keeping it as a varchar, then I can make it as a integer. If I run it, so this column becomes integer now. So I can use this select statement till here. I can use this select statement over here, then I can use it in copy into command. So once you typecast according to the table format, table data type format, then we can run this copy into command. So here I have given file format as a CSV, skip header as 1, and force is equal to true. So force is equal to true. So if there is any similar file which is loaded previously, then it will overwrite that file using this. So usually stage will maintain up to 64 days of data. So I did a bit of typo. So instead of closing the parenthesis over here, I just kept it over. So I changed it and rerun the command. So now it is showing that status has loaded, the 50 rows are passed, and error limit as 1, no errors. So by this we got to know how we were able to access the data from the storage, Azure storage location into the Snowflake staging area. Then using the copy into command, we were able to load the data into the Snowflake table. Now we will see how to create the storage integration. So the importance of having the storage integration is when we don't want it to compromise the credential at the stage itself. For that, we wanted to hidden it in some object. So that hiding object, we can say it as a storage integration. So with the storage integration, we can create a multiple access location of the Azure storage account, and we can restrict what all location we wanted to block it, and based on the tenant ID and other parameters, we can restrict many ways of accessing the storage account. Now let us see how we can create the storage integration. So first we'll see the syntax. So this is the syntax: create or replace storage integration. So type is the external stage, as the storage integration mainly created for the external stage only. Then enabled equal to true, and the storage allowed location. So what all the storage, like if we are having a different storage location at a different directories, we can give those locations separated by commas, and storage block locations as well. And the cloud provider here, as we're talking about the Azure, so let us talk about the Azure cloud provider parameters. In the storage provider will be the Azure, and the tenant ID, so which will give the access or authentication for the storage access. For each account, this tenant ID will be different. So how do we find out the tenant ID? So go to the portal.azure.com, then search for Microsoft, enter ID. So since it is a learning sandbox, it won't give a full information, so we'll have only the minimal information. Now it is throwing that error code, but however still if I wanted to have the tenant ID, then I can just search for tenant properties. Here I will be able to get the tenant ID. However, this tenant ID information won't work in the storage integration. So where I'm trying to create it, for that I need to have a personal Azure account with free resources learning sandbox account. I won't be able to use this tenant ID for the having the credential or creating some role based permissions in the storage account, as it is disabled. So that we'll see. So but however, to discuss more on this, once we have the tenant ID and the storage provider, then we will give the storage locations of all this. So here I just created a one storage integration object, create or replace storage integration with the Azure Snowflake Azure int. Type is external stage, storage provider is Azure, and enabled equal to true. Azure tenant ID, I just copied it from tenant properties. So this is the tenant ID. However, when you have a personal account, so then search for a Microsoft enter ID, then tenant ID is given, then storage allowed location. So I have given the same storage location and comment. So what this storage integration is using for. So that is just to give a high level information for any of the user who is trying to see the description of this storage integration. Creating one more stage, so I'll be just name it as a double one, random data stage 11 with the URL remains the same. When it comes to the storage integration, so initially where we are given the Azure SaaS token, instead of that Azure SaaS token over here I'm trying to give the storage integration, where I have hided all the access tokens. So I don't need the access tokens over here. I just need a tenant ID and the allowed locations. We need few more information, so that multi-tenant app need, where we have to give the service principal enabled, and we have to give the contributor access and the reader access. So that we will see now. And coming to this creating external stage using the storage integration. So here we have to give the storage integration with the storage integration name, which are created just now over here. Once I create this storage integration, so let me just run this command, storage integration command. So storage integration is created, so I'll be creating a stage, external stage. Then if I do the describe storage integration of the storage integration name, it will give few information. What are the allowed location, tenant ID information, and the consent URL. I need to do few configuration for this to access the storage location. For that I need to go to this Azure consent URL, so which will open a new window. It will ask me to approve some permissions. So here I won't be able to do with this learning sandbox account. For that I'm just telling orally. However, like when you have a personal account, so you can check with that. I will tell you the step-by-step operations of how it can be done. So once you give the permission to the Azure consent URL, it will open the new window and you will give a permission for that. And after that, you have to copy the property value of the Azure multi-tenant app name, so which is this one. Okay, so copy this value over here. I'll be copying this value. Then go to the access control of the storage account name. So I'll be going to the Azure account now. So here go to the IAM of this access control of the Snowflake container and go to the role assignment and click on add. Here this add role assignment is disabled. So usually for the personal account or for your organization account, so it will be enabled, with which you can add the role. Reader access and the storage contributor access can be enabled for the role. And also we need to go to the select members and partially type this multi-tenant app name in the search menu, and there try to give the hub name and select or give the permission for the tenant name to access the storage location, or without exposing the credential of the storage location to the Snowflake account. So here we are building a connection between the Snowflake with the permission from this Azure multi-tenant app name by creating a service principal, and here we have given the consent to the Azure that Snowflake would be able to access the location with the permission or the role which we are trying to give it. So here we are trying to give the contributor access with which the user can create a file or load or delete or extract the file from the location. Once we do it, run the show stages. Here we can see the two location, but it is not showing like full information because I haven't created fully of this storage integration object. And once everything is successful, you will be able to list the files which are there in the this staging location. So now if I run it won't give the result because I haven't fully configured this storage integration object. Here I just gave the theory wise. So once you see the list of all the files, then do the same operation, copy, create a stage file format and run the copy into command. So that's it for this video. Please let me know in comment if you have any doubt. I'll try to answer. Thank you for watching my video.